I come at this issue of food and labour from the angle of studying cultures of consumption as related to food security, which is very much about people's access to affordable but culturally appropriate food that's important to them in maintaining valued ways of life. And when it comes for accounting for the state of our food system at the moment, it often seems that the consumer can be blamed for wanting to consume cheap food and for even driving this sort of cheaper food culture. But I would argue that one of the key challenges here is sort of understanding that consumers aren't so much wanting to consume cheap food, but actually they're part of this wider system that makes this sort of not this food available, but also is driving sort of down the cost price squeeze on agriculture. And thinking about labour from this perspective, we can only think that people who are not being paid a living wage cannot actually sort of be able to pay a fair price that accurately reflects the real cost of our food. So for me, the challenge is about locating the consumer within this complex structural and institutional picture, and it's looking at the interaction between these elements that sort of is the challenge. So I think increasingly academics are working more and more in interdisciplinary ways and working across their sort of silos even within food research. For example, people are working more closely across sort of say from consumption to production and engaging more and more with civil society. So I think I have hopes that in the future that we'll be working together more and more to kind of look at the connections between different elements of our food system and not looking at them in their silos. I think civil society are already working to address some of these issues. And I think that by continuing to work sort of across sectors and across academia, maybe we could work together to reconnect the disconnections there between the cost of food, the real cost of labour, and bringing these two elements together might be a way forward.